Alright, hey guys, this is Bezmor and I've got another video for you today. This one is group PvP on Heaven's Tier. A little bit of background, we had 4 factions gank us this weekend, so we only had like 80-ish people, so we just defended 2 of them and let the other 2 go. But we did 3 rounds of PK after TW, and that's what I wanted to show you. So this is the first round of PK, and basically it is a bunch of Karma people, maybe like 1.5 squads I think, against Draken, VolKonDigrz, and Voltage combined. So they could 4-way gank us in TW, and yeah, we have to let 2 lands go. But PvP, they can bring it on 3v1, and we just wrecked them. We went 3-0. So I figured I would upload this, show you guys some commentary on some awesome group PK, because it was awesome. So anyways, getting into this, again, I'm kind of standing, like, positioning is huge as a DD, right? You do not want to be in the middle of a fight as much as possible, and you want to be focusing the right DDs. So I'm looking for squishy people on the outside who are prioritizing things, and the nice thing is you'll see a lot of really good cooperation by Karma people in this. Like, oftentimes you'll find yourself attacking somebody alone, like, if you're doing that, you're probably doing it wrong. But you see, I called the archer as a target, and immediately 2 BMs, a mystic, and a sin show up. Like, yeah, that's called OP coordination. And you'll notice the other side, they're doing it, but only the half of it. Because you'll see a lot of people on our side getting focused by like 2 to 3 heavy armors, BMs, barbs, whatever, but there will be no DDs backing them up. And what you want is you want your heavy armors sitting there in their face, preventing them from doing anything, while you have 2 to 3 DDs just wrecking them. And so I'm playing the DD role, and the BMs on my side are doing an awesome job, and the barb, of just making sure shit goes our way. And so as you can see here again, we call the target, what happens? 2 BMs are on top of this guy and a Vino, like, yeah. So here I called this target because obviously no buffs, and you don't want to leave free archers. Just the random purge chance is too OP. You don't want to be fighting against RNG and an entire group of people that's combined of 3 factions. So here I think this was like, we kind of wrecked most of the people already, so I used Holy Path because I could. There will be some parts in this video though where you'll see 2 to 3 heavy armors just sitting on me, and having your genie available to you when that happens is everything, because Paralyze changed the game. Like, the fact that you can get CC'd when you have anti-stun up means you can't just rely on a Purify proc to save you as an AA class. So you really need to be aware of your genie use, and until you're sure you're gonna win the fight, don't do stupid stuff like Holy Path around. Now you'll see me do it a little bit, but I'll explain why. I'll try to anyways, and whatnot. So yeah, again, it's just all about focusing the DDs, and we had enough people in the first round to just kind of spread out and kill everybody, and it wasn't too bad. But they got more people as the fights went on. So this is the second round, I think. And again here, I've got my team menu open to archers because I don't like archers. I mean, yes, they're not the most threatening as far as damage, but they are as far as purge proc. So here, we notice that their psychic, who is full +12 Jade deities with like max cards and shit, if they drop right into the middle of the fight with all the heavy armors, they're doing it wrong. Clearly, like, that just makes them completely vulnerable. So what we did is everybody basically ignored the heavy armors and immediately turned and tried to nuke them. And here, as you can see, I've got a BM that's a full +12 Jade BM, like, trying to chase me down, but I just team menu to an archer and I'm like, peace! And so here's an example of where I used Holy Path, and the reason I did that was because the BM chasing me didn't have skill. Like, if he had skill, he would have locked me down, prevented me from doing stuff, and maybe even threatened me kill-wise. But because he just kind of wasn't locking me down, I was like, alright, I'm gonna go chase down this archer. And we had multiple people calling targets, because when there's this much chaos and this many numbers, you have to prioritize. And so sometimes I'll call a target and somebody else will call a better target, etc., etc. But here is a spot where it was like, oh shoot, I've got people on me, I've got, it looks like 2 BMs on me, and that's a pretty annoying thing to have. So I used my Expel, and the BMs immediately switched targets, which gave me freedom, which is great because this means now I can get my cooldown back, and I don't have to expend anything extra, And now a Barb's trying to CC me, but I am sticking to my job, is getting on the DD and calling the target, and I love it. I called the target, immediately 3 heavy armors show up and a sin, and just wreck the archer. And as you can see, when that archer used that temporary survival, which meant I couldn't kill them, or no, sorry, when I got sealed and I couldn't do anything, I used it to reposition right in the middle of the fight, because it's like, I can't do anything for 4 seconds, I'm going to move somewhere else so that I'm not in a bad spot. Because again, positioning is so key when you're a DD class. And here we're just abusing the fact that people are rezzing on the ground. Like, when they res outside of outside of the gate, you shut them down. Like that should never stand. Even if there's priority targets, like unbuffed targets that just res, their charm is already ticked. Like you should never allow that to happen. So again here, I'm trying to find good targets and assisting off of people left, right, and center. And I think there's like 3 or 4 main people that we're all calling targets. And again, here's the heavy armor people's trying to get up in my business, but you know, they can't do anything because they all end up sealed, which is my favorite part. But I had my expel up, and this is why I run a heavy regen genie, is I want expel up as much as possible because I can almost like cycle Physimmune like permanently if I do it right and play really careful. And that's why you notice I'm in Black Voodoo like almost this entire video. Like there might be 1 second, I don't know if you'll see me in white. I know there was a few times I went to white, but for the most part I was staying in black. And here I wasn't sure what was going to happen, so I blew my APOS just because I didn't want to get killed or anything stupid. Again, in targeting the archers, yeah, right here, this could have been bad. You see, there's a BM on me and an archer who was on me, and that's what really is successful in getting those kills. It's all about your front line locking them down, and the DDs then being able to apply pressure while that happens. And the reason this is working is because we have a fair amount of DDs. We've got 2 wizards in the squad, both of which are full plus 12. One of them's like full plus 12 jades, and the other one's like full plus 12 partial jades. So they're just monstrously huge wizards. We've got, I think, 2 or 3 like pretty decently geared assassins out here. So they're doing damage. You got my psychic, which is not doing damage. We have 1 Vino, which is a little bit of a downside, but you know, you gotta work with what you got, right? So we have a lot of threats out there, and we didn't have any archers to begin. I think we may have picked one up in the 3rd round, but they had like 3 archers, 2 sins, and then 1 psychic. But because their psychic wasn't really very skilled at applying themselves correctly, as like earlier when they just dropped down in the middle of our entire squad, you don't really count them. But the idea is you use your squad composition optimally. So again, this is pretty straightforward. When I have no pressure on me, I'm just looking for targets, assisting off of people, calling targets, popping my T menu up as much as possible, and just making sure I know what my cooldowns are. What do I have? It's like, okay, right now in my mind I'm saying, okay, my APOF is still not back up, but I have AD, I have Expel, I can do pretty stupid stuff right now. And again, target focus is really important. Clerics are high priority, Venomancers are always probably #1 priority, and then archers. Granted, their archers aren't that like well geared, but we're not killing them because of a damage threat. We're killing them because of the purge threat. Now if they had like full plus 12 archers or something with deities, then we would focus them, but we don't have to. And this like APS sins are such a joke, because right now it's like they can do damage, but most people won't. You don't get insta-gimped by them anymore like they used to a couple years back, so they're just squishy. So as you can see, we like, if they're gonna stay here, we'll nuke them. If not, we'll just let them run away because that's what they're good at. So here, there's not much to say because we just dumpstered them. Like if you've been watching my squad, like there haven't really been like deaths back and forth. There's been a few deaths on our Vino because she's taking all the hate pretty much. There have been times that, like in this video, they were trying to focus me, but again, they were focusing me with heavy armors and no DD backing it up, which was unsuccessful. There was times where they're all focused on their cleric. There was times where they were focused on the wizards. It was just doing nothing for them. So yeah, it's pretty much clean up and roll them, and it was a lot of fun. I have to admit, we haven't had this kind of fun in a long time, and it was kind of nice after, like, this is the 2nd week that these 3 factions have all bid on us in TW, and we can only ever defend 2 because we don't have numbers. But when it comes to PK, you know, we get to make some pretty bold claims because we wrecked them, and they were like trash talking after the TW ended, and we're like, really? Come and fight us. And then they did, and they got wrecked. It was awesome. Also, I just have to mention, shout out to the guy who was PMing me before this started. He asked me to shout him out, and I forgot his name because the name he wanted me to shout out was different from the one he was PMing me on. But shout out to that guy, just cuz. So I believe this has pretty much ended round 2 of 3, and we're, I guess, in a best of 3 or whatever situation, we won pretty easily the first 2 rounds. So here comes the third one, and these archers trying to do cheese is like so funny. Like they're blowing all their cooldowns before a fight has even started. And what happens as a result? Like nothing. Like, did anyone in my squad die? No. Did anybody outside of my squad die? Maybe, but I don't think so. So I don't know why. Like, you should really be applying yourself better as a DD class, knowing what you're capable of doing and trying to accomplish that as best you can. So again here, abusing a Purify proc actually to catch up here. And again, the Dragon Rise would have sealed us that kill, except he missed. We allow that to happen once a year. If you miss twice, we kick you out of the faction. No, I'm just kidding. But here's the thing that is important, right? Even though we missed, we stick with it because we're like, yeah, there's no other really good targets right now. Let's wreck this archer so nobody get purged by them. And we stay on it, and boom, got the kill. Easy mode. So now I use my T menu, find myself another archer, and this one I know is a little bit squishy, so just start focusing it. And you can see, like, the wizard of my squad is doing his own thing, and at this point, like, they weren't killing any of us, so we were, like, basically as soon as a fight would start, we would gain a numbers advantage. So we didn't have to have perfect target selection. We could have done a lot better target selection. Obviously, if we had 9 people targeting 1 person, it'd be like, goodbye. But, you know, we still managed to break it down. And we'd, like, sub-manage. Like, I'd notice a couple people were going for, like, these targets, while a couple other people were going for these targets. And that's fine, because, you know, 6 people is overkill, to be honest. You shouldn't need 6 to kill 1 unless your 6 are all average gear and the 1 is like god tier gear. So that's just how it is. So here I was gonna go in the air to chase somebody down, and then I was like, nah. And the barb tried to drop me out of the air anyway, so I was like, yeah, whatever. And here, as you can see, I'm getting focused. I've got the barb, the occult ice, the BM, and I was like, oh shoot, what am I gonna do? But then I just expelled, and I was like, sorry. And of course, paralyzed spam, but what are you going to do? I'm a psychic and they're not using will surge properly. I talked about this in my TW video that I posted, I think, last week, where when you're fighting against psychics, there's 2 scenarios that you're going to come across. Uber geared psychics that are full plus 12, and under geared psychics that are not full plus 12. And the way you need to do this is, on the not geared psychics, like me, you drop your will surge immediately and go ham, because they're not super tanky. Like, they're gonna be forced to burn everything they have if you just will surge and go ham on them, because those guys could have killed me if they had both will surged, and in between the paralyze and the damage of 2 Goth crit weapons, like, I would have been totally dead. But what did they do? They stand there and they get sealed, right? Now, a good psychic, I try to think of myself as an average psychic, but psychics with really a lot of PvP experience, right? Even if you force if you will surge and do that, that's when we immediately react by dropping expels or genie or apoth cooldowns, like, because we know, oh shoot, they used will surge, this means they're going all in, I need to react accordingly. Noob psychics will just die if you straight up will surge. I mean, like, undergeared noob psychics who are inexperienced at PvP. The psychics that are really tanky, if they're really good, yeah, killing them is gonna be really hard. But again, that's when you save your will surge for when you've got enough people to make an attempt to kill them. And it's the same not just for psychics, it's for any strong class. Like, imagine you're playing a wizard and you have a spark combo ready to go. You don't spark them, like, straight up, because it's like, oh, they could get a Purify proc if it's a mage class, they have invoke if it's a barb, you know, there's any number of things that could go wrong. But after you've been nuking them with assist attack and working with your team for a while, then you can use your spark and blow them to pieces, right? And it's the same thing with high geared psychics. You use your will surge at an ideal time when you think you can get the kill. So yeah, there was a lot of mistakes made on the other side, and granted, it was 3 different factions trying to fight against us, so we have a communication advantage and a cooperation advantage, but at the same time, it says something when 3 factions can't beat 1. I'm just saying, you know. Not too much trolling going on, clearly. But anyways, so here we're just trying to chase everybody down, and as you can see, it's like karma is just mobbing. We're like Zerg rushing every individual person we get our hands on, because it's like, that's how you do it. So here I used AD because I saw my HP get low, maybe a little bit panicky, and there you go, I did use white voodoo once. But I think the reason I did is because, yeah, my psychic buffs were down, and psychic buffs being down is like, hey look, a wizard without stone barrier, or any extra things, free kills. So that's why I kind of went white there, because I was like, I don't want to get pressured into having to do something stupid or blow my apoth, so it's like, I'm gonna white voodoo, get my buffs back up, and then immediately, as you can see here, turn back to Black Voodoo and continue to win the fight. So we're coming up on the end of this final round, and they pretty much gave up. Like, they knew. 3 rounds, getting wrecked. There's not much you can do against that. So yeah, I hope you guys learned some cool things from this video. Group PvP is, I think, one of the more fun things. It's so chaotic, and it really shows the difference in player skill. You know, if you know how to apply your class to its maximum potential, you're gonna be huge in group PvP. And if you're a noob, you're gonna find yourself burning through a lot of deaths. But what are you gonna do, right? So yeah, if you have questions, comments, if you disagree with me, I don't care. No, I'm just kidding. Leave a comment. I can't promise that I'll reply to it because school started this week and I'm busy. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will see you guys next time.